Jazz Chisholm is out 4 to 6 weeks. Let's talk replacements up next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5. Today is Wednesday, May 17th. I am Frank Samfeld, joined by Scott White. And Jazz Chisholm was placed on the IL with turf toe, and looks like he'll require 4 to 6 weeks of rest and rehab. How are we replacing Jazz Chisholm? In shallower leagues, Scott, two names that stood out to me: Christopher Morel, 73% rostered, and Isaac Paredes, who hit 2 home runs on Tuesday at 66% rostered. Who do you like more between those two?
I like Morel more. That's certainly the higher upside play. Probably the lower downside play too. But like, obviously, if you're replacing Jazz Chisholm, it's rare you're going to find a player who could replicate potentially Jazz Chisholm's stats off the waiver wire. Morel can. I mean, it's the same sort of profile, like just really good. Like his abilities kind of really jump out at you in terms of how hard he hits the ball, in terms of how fast he is. He just strikes out too much. And so you shouldn't expect much in the way of batting average. But if everything goes right for Morel, then the output could be similar to Jazz Chisholm, actually. Doesn't mean everything is going to go right, but you know, we're obviously hoping for the best when we're making a waiver claim in every instance. I don't think Paredes is a bad choice necessarily. He doesn't play every day for the Rays, but he just had a 2-homer game Tuesday and has had a fairly productive season. I just think he's a lower upside option. But I do want to point out also that if you play in a especially shallow league, or if you play on another site, there may be even better options than this on the waiver wire. There may be somebody like Andres Jimenez who was dropped, or Jorge Polanco. So just, you don't necessarily have to start with Christopher Morel if you see somebody who's an even higher end name out there. I mean, that might be the better option. Second base has a lot of redundancy, so it seems realistic.
All right, Scott, if we drop a little bit further down, let's say you're in a deeper league, something deeper than 10 or 12 teams. Orlando Arcia, 42% rostered. The expected numbers look very good for Arcia so far, and Nick Senzel hit his 4th home run of the season on Tuesday night. He's 40% rostered. Who do you like more there, Arcia or Nick Senzel?
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about Arcia, so I think he would be my choice. Not a great track record, but he hasn't really had a full-time role since he entered his prime. His career started so young with the Brewers. And since then, since being removed from everyday duty, we've seen him put up huge numbers during minor league stints and pretty good numbers in sporadic major league chances. So it's going well for him with the Braves, and obviously that's a deep lineup that's going to help bolster his numbers too.
We have yet another prospect promotion as the Cardinals are calling up Matthew Liberatore to make a start against the Brewers on Wednesday. It's not an injury-related call-up, but it gives the Cardinals starters an extra day of rest. Not sure that Liberatore will stick around, but so far in the minors this year, he was pitching well. 3.13 ERA, a 1.17 WHIP, over a strikeout per inning. The velocity is up. Seems like he's changed the pitch mix a little bit as well, Scott. Any thoughts on Matthew Liberatore? 26% rostered. Is he a priority ad in fantasy baseball?
I wouldn't call him a priority ad, but he is of some interest. I noticed what he was doing in the minors. I noticed the velocity gains, the strikeout improvement. And so I wrote about him a couple times in the prospects report, but I never included him in my 5 on the verge, meaning one of the 5 who needs to be stashed ahead of time, because he was so bad when we saw him last year, ERA near 6. I figured he wouldn't attract much attention off the waiver wire. Seems like he's attracting more attention than I thought. I think that speaks to everybody's desperation at starting pitching. They're just going after anything that offers any chance of upside. And things could go better with these changes Liberatore's made to his arsenal. Things could go better in his second stint, but there isn't a clear opening in the Cardinals rotation. And again, I think I think more likely than not, he will continue to struggle. So not a bad use of a roster spot if you have a spot to play with, but if it comes down to picking up Liberatore or Bailey Ober, or picking up Liberatore or Taj Bradley, who looks like he could be on the way back for the Rays, then I would go against picking up Liberatore.
All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Audacy app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.